Welcome back to the Oceanic Pro League. My name is Michael Hingersing, and if you're just joining us, we saw Avant-Garde 2-0 Exile 5 in that first series. We are now about to get into our match of the week, which is Legacy taking on Direwolves for this joint second place. Can one of them eke out the other? But let's break this second match down as I turn to my analyst desk, Mendrix and also Alex. And Mendrix, let's start with the Direwolves. What's their season been like so far?
Direwolves have had a dominating season, and these guys really seem to be so lane-focused at the moment. They really take control of each other's lanes, and then from that point take to victory with the advantages that they've gained over time. And these guys have sort of just been pushing through immediately. Chippies has been so strong up in that top lane, always getting the solo kills, always being the guy that's sort of generating this massive split push pressure threat. So this team at the moment is really a powerhouse.
And their opponents, Alex, Legacy. You've been watching this scene for a very long time. You've seen Legacy develop. How do you feel like their split is going this time round compared to others you've seen?
Well, it's always been the same, right? Legacy are one of the best winners in the league. They're one of the best teams at having a clear game plan. They know what roster development looks like. They're just on top of it all. But they dropped a match to Sin, and that's concerning because they shouldn't lose to Sin. And I know we could get into all the reasons why that happened. But I will say for now, they've got a new bot lane. They've got a new mid laner who's back from Japan. They're still settling into things, but they need to get better, and they need to get better soon.
Absolutely. All right, well, let us get to it and look at the Direwolves as they are getting ready in the studio right now. Chippies is going to be in the top lane. Schönfire will be their starting jungler rather than Sybil today. Fantix, their mid laner. King, their AD carry. And Destiny, their support player. And Mendrix, when you look across this lineup, very strong laning phase, have struggled to close out games that have been otherwise dominating though.
That's really been the question for both teams at the moment, and especially with the Direwolves, except for that last game they played last week. And the reason is they sort of cleaned all their play up. They had a 26-minute shutout. So these guys can close games when they put their mind to it. But it's just a matter of them playing that clean play, being respectful to their opponents. And when they do that, they are just absolutely unstoppable.
Alex, ignoring Legacy, ignoring their opponents for a moment, and just focusing in on Direwolves, where do you see their weaknesses?
Direwolves' weaknesses.
Yeah, are there any?
Are there any? No.
No.
From the perspective where you're looking at, they go into a game, where can they lose? They don't have any weaknesses. But their actual weaknesses are weaknesses that all teams, all players kind of have in common. That's silly mistakes, that's bad execution, that's bad communication. This is a roster with no holes. And I think it's really hard to say that of most Oceanic teams. This is the best Direwolves roster ever assembled. There's not a single hole, not a single weak point on their roster. It's up to them whether or not they can translate their on-paper strength to success.
Well, Mendrix, when we talk about them not having a weakness across their entire roster, we want to drill down on Schönfire, right? Because he debuted last week, much hyped player. How do you think his debut went, and do you see him as fulfilling his potential so far?
So he went into that sort of with the interview saying, I am going to dominate. And his performance sort of didn't leave that. So it wasn't what he wanted to have. He was actually down on kills. He wasn't having a positive KDA. That was definitely a performance far from dominating. But in terms of him being good in the whole group of things, he was all right in the team fights. He was there when he needed to be. He had some good plays, but not a dominating performance.
All right, well, across the rift, Direwolves' opponents are going to be Legacy. And earlier today, I spoke to their team captain and jungler, Carbon, about the upcoming match, and let's see what he had to say.
It's just another week for us. We get the same amount of points for beating them as we would beating X5 next week. So we're obviously really want to win. It will put us clear second as well, which is very important, especially with the gauntlet this year. So look, we have worked really hard this week, and we're really excited to play. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just another 3 points.
Your opponent, jungler Schönfire, this week. No surprise, you weren't super impressed with his debut last week. He was looking to step up today. Do you think you have a real experience edge on him, though?
Maybe. I mean, I would say he's definitely a talented player. He maybe had a bit of nerves last week. I'm not really sure what it was. But I'm expecting him to come out firing today, and I'll definitely have to play my best to keep up.
And finally, you're coming off the back of a pretty harsh loss last week. What have you guys been doing to repair since then?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously reviewed it a lot, and I think it kind of highlighted a number of issues for us. We've been practicing really hard this week to try and work on those. It's never nice losing, but it's always a good opportunity to learn.
Yeah. Finally, you feeling confident for today then?
Yeah, more or less. No, look, they're obviously a really talented side, but I think we also have a really talented side, so it should be a good contest.
Excellent. Well, thank you for speaking to us, and best of luck with the match.
Thanks, mate.
There we have team captain of Legacy and their jungler Carbon saying, yeah, we're pretty confident. I mean, that's Carbon though, right? He's a very no-nonsense kind of guy. He tells it how it is, and he doesn't have these delusions, right, about being, really confident. He kind of tries to assess these games one-on-one. So, Alex, when you see him talking about today, do you kind of think that he's going to be going into this aggressively, or how do you think Carbon's going to be playing today?
I think Carbon has a chip on his shoulder after that loss. Any competitor would, really.
Sure.
I call him the Paul Gallen of Legacy Esports minus the beer gut. Well, actually, the beer gut is yet to be confirmed. I'll have to check after the matches. But yeah, I think this is the team they want to beat, right? Because if Legacy versus Chiefs is the premier rivalry, then surely Direwolves versus Legacy has to be the second one.
Sure. Mendrix, do you feel that going into this match, Carbon there being very respectful of his opponent in Schönfire, saying, look, he's a very good player, and kind of almost stepping back from the comments he made last week on the desk, and not that he's necessarily flip-flopping or changing, but obviously when you're faced with someone about to play them, your mentality might change, right?
It is a bit of a realization when you are going up against someone. You sort of sit back and go, okay, let's actually double down and look at what he can do. And I think when you do have the opportunity to look at it and scrutinize him a bit more effectively, you start to realize, yes, this is what he is good at. He is someone I can't just really push out I can't set him up as a pushover. I need to be in a different frame of mind when I'm versing him. And with Carbon specifically and with Legacy, they can really take it to the Direwolves with that macro game. If it gets late, that's their opportunity to take out the Direwolves.
All right, well, let's take a look at Legacy as they are getting ready right now in our studios. Let me bring up their roster. We're going to be looking at Tally playing in the top lane. Their jungler today, Carbon. Claire's going to be playing mid lane. Their AD carry Lost. And their support, Cupcake. And these guys looking pretty confident there, I reckon, despite what Carbon has said.
Well, let's say they've been working hard throughout the entire week, and when you sort of do double down and put in that extra yards, you do go into, it happens when you study, you put that extra thing, you go into the examination, relax. And it's the same sort of thing for these games. When you put in that extra work, these guys should be going into it relaxed, which is a really good sign to see.
There's a couple of different things going on in this matchup between Legacy and Direwolves. And the first one I want to talk about is how we're seeing debuts of some new players this split. In particular, Claire, who is back from Japan, playing mid lane for Legacy. And also Schönfire, who's kind of spent some time in North America and Korea, is now jungling for Direwolves. So let's bring up a graphic on them. And I want to ask you, Alex, as we talk about these guys, in particular, what stands out to you? Is it the kill participation for Claire? It's 55.9%. It's very high.
So look, Claire is a player who Legacy have played with before, but he's come into his first OPL split as a starter. The pressure is on him immediately to be an important piece of this, and you can see that kill participation. They're not happy to have him farm and just clear waves forever. They want him to be a part of everything. And you contrast that with Schönfire, whose stats are lower than we'd expect across the board. I just wonder, are both these players... are they confident in how they're starting this split off?
I mean, Mendrix, they're coming with a lot of pressure on themselves. This is also just one game from Schönfire.
That's right there. And with these two guys, they seem to be, they've looked at as some of the most hyped players coming into this split. And Claire specifically, he seems to sort of have been underperforming. But when we look at Schönfire, that kill participation for a jungler is really low. He's supposed to be the guy that's moving around the map. You would expect him to be involved at least 50% plus. And only have 38% in his sort of debut is a little bit of a letdown. But he had his own advantages where, he was almost matching the gold per minute when it came to against Claire there, which is something that doesn't really happen for junglers.
Well, speaking of junglers, the team captain of Legacy, Carbon, is going to be facing off against Schönfire. And as we look at that kill participation, 64%, much higher than 38%, Alex.
Yeah, that tends to be higher in wins and lower in losses, especially for a support-oriented jungler like Carbon, who likes to get his team going. If Legacy don't get off to a flying start, you will see him lag behind. But what I want to look at is that KDA. I know Mendrix pointed out something.
That's right. When you look at that KDA there, you can see those last two games actually had him not dying at all. In the first 2 weeks, he actually only dropped 2 deaths. It's in that last series, he's actually dropped close to 16. So really a large amount there, has actually shredded his KDA. So hopefully he can bounce back into it this week. That Sin Gaming was really rough on him for his stats specifically.
Yeah, look, the lesson here is that you look at stats in their context, right? You drop 16 deaths in one series. That looks a lot worse than pretty much anything. I know my old stats professor would have my head for it if I just
Just
jumped to some-
cherry-picking
yeah,
these,
yeah. Hey, I can make any narrative happen if you give me the right numbers. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Check my Twitter.
Well, let's keep Alex away from his calculator, obviously, because we need to, clearly be respectful of these stats. Well, let's keep drilling down on this, because Carbon, as he faces off against Schönfire, it's not just their playstyle, it's also their personalities that are quite different, right? We see Schönfire last week saying, look, I want to dominate. That is his narrative. He wants to push. And then Carbon, his whole thing is just like being a leader, being someone the team looks to as almost a calming influence, Alex.
Yeah, and I think the attitudes that these two junglers have towards the game is sort of reflective of the teams in general. Dire Wolves are this mad stacked team of mechanical talent who just seem to have this one objective, and that's what helps them grow together. Whereas Legacy, you can't say that their talent is as high across the board, but they come together under the umbrella of Carbon.
Absolutely. All right, well, before we throw to our casters, let me get your predictions, because I feel like this is a close one to call. These teams are both tied for second currently. So, Mendrix, let me start with you. Who is going to be taking out this match?
I feel Legacy are going to bounce back. I'm giving them a 2-1 against the Dire Wolves.
Alex, do you agree?
Unlike Big Sean, they are not going to bounce back. I think Dire Wolves take this 2-1.
Goodness. All right. Well, R&B and hip-hop references aside, that is a split analyst desk. So it is time to get into the match and find out who is going to be taking out this first game. So let's throw it to our casters, Spawn and Fish.
Thank you very much, Hingers. I'm not quite sure how a three-man desk can kind of be split there, but it is anyway.
I can tell you how. A coward abstains yet again from the race, so that's...
Seems like
nice.
a tricky use using the desk.
It certainly is. I mean, I'm biased host. I don't blame the man at all.
We are to Champions League for the match of the week. It's going to be the Dire Wolves taking on Legacy. Both of these teams currently 2-1 in the OPL, so it's an important match for them.
Yeah, it certainly is. And let's just reset as to why it's an important match for Dire Wolves. They've said that, regular season aside, they're there for playoffs, but they need to prove Schönfire works late game. If you go back and watch their early games, his warding was instrumental, his pathing was very good, but then when it gets to the later stages of the game, they were face-checking brushes against Tainted Minds. They looked like they were all over the shop. And I think that this game is going to be one of those games that Schön comes out and tries to control his team. He is one of the big active voices when he's playing and clean up their play towards that latter stages.
I'll excited to see if he can do just that. We are into picks and bans. The bans have already flown out here. LeBlanc on the blue side being banned out by the Dire Wolves with Zyra as well as Jace. Malzahar, Rengar, and Camille will hit the bench for Legacy. That gives Dire Wolves the first pick of Kha'Zix as Tally casually hovers the tournament.
Yeah, so Kha'Zix being picked up, kind of strange. I mean, it is a strong jungler, but one of the responses we've seen time and time again against it is the Elise. It's definitely Carbon's best jungler. I mean, you can also push the tempo of the jungle through an Ivan pick and try and dissuade a lot of what Kha'Zix does well. So see whether Legacy have options available to it, because gut feel is that against this Legacy lineup, an aggressive jungler isn't really all that needed, because Carbon is a tempo jungler.
Well, Legacy will go for the Varus pick, and Karma being picked up again. I believe that's 3 for 3 so far. Resurging as a very popular support, was played quite heavily last night in the LPL, even flexed into the mid lane once in a while. Ryze is going to be the lock-in here for Fantix, a very popular pick globally, but hasn't seen too much play in the OPL, and promptly countered, the pseudo-counter pick of Cassiopeia being locked in by Legacy.
The one series that it was 100% pick ban was actually the Dire Wolves versus the Chiefs series. I feel like Fantix is incredibly comfortable on it. I know that Claire and Swiffer are also comfortable on the Ryze pick that I'm speaking about in particular. So I'm not surprised to see such a heavy priority put back on this again.
We are into the second ban wave.
It's got to be the Kennen ban, doesn't it?
Has to be. Well, Fiora is the first ban coming out from Legacy here.
I just feel if you're going to target things that tanks don't do well against, which is what the Fiora ban is specifically for. So if Tally does want to take it to a Maokai or an Auto or something like that, then you have to get rid of Kennen at the same time, because he's the exact same kind of counter pick during that laning phase, shuts it down quite hard and continues to split push.
We already have Jace being banned out nice and early in the ban phase, so no more champions to throw up in the top lane.
Jace is actually kind of a little bit more weird because he doesn't bring the same CC that Kennen does, so he doesn't set up ganks the same, so you can actually stand up to Jace as a top laner if you go with tanks.
And that's a big respect ban from the Direwolves. I mean, we have Ivan being banned out, still a very common ban, but the Gangplank targeted towards Tally being taken away as their final ban.
Yeah, and I feel like there's two ways that Jimmy Shu plays the Gangplank. One's a little bit more jovial, running around with his Sork boots, and the other one is the very serious, pen builds that come out, and he looks to dominate the map. And against someone like the Direwolves that want the flexibility of being able to play a carry top laner, let's talk about the Aurelias, let's talk about the Jaxes. The respect given over to, get rid of the Gangplank that can go toe-to-toe with these picks is very needed.
It's also very scary when Legacy have last pick, but that's going to be saved for Carbon, as we have Maokai being locked in for the Direwolves, and they're going to take Thresh as their support of choice for Destiny, and Carbon's going to go back to good old Lee Sin.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I mean, we said that he has a supporting jungler pool that should be able to go. Ivan got taken away. I was expecting Rek'Sai or Elise to come out, but no, Fire with Fire goes with the Lee Sin, going to look to equal the aggression that comes out of the Direwolves lineup. And I think across the board, we can say that is the tanks. Front to back comps, big tanks up the top, supports actually playing supports. We're going to have a brawl.
Yeah, we're going to have a big fight here between Direwolves as well as Legacy. Legacy known to go into team fights. Direwolves known to be that scrappy brawler of a team. It's going to be one action-packed match between these two.
And this is going to be interesting. What do Direwolves look like with all 5 members on the same screen? Because Chippies was definitely happy to split push against Praedyth last week. In the past, we've seen that Direwolves against the Chiefs actually elected to teamfight a little bit more often than the Chiefs expected, it has to be said. Whereas Legacy have always been a big team fighting team. Even when they put Tally on carries, it is for the point of being able to take out front lines in the big 5v5 team fight. So this may be more towards Legacy's wheelhouse, but we said that against the Chiefs, and Direwolves look good.
And very meta champions being picked up as well. I mean, we don't see Misfortune being picked up anymore. Recently been played as an AD carry more. There has been a support even. And now we have Thresh coming back here. We saw Rogue play a game with this champion. Now Destiny's picking it up. Very excited to see more champions coming into the meta.
Yeah, it has a lot of priority in the lane, the Thresh. I mean, you can flash forward with the Flay, you get your jungler involved nice and early, and, brings enough CC that your jungler can be the person following up with the damage. So I feel like if you're going towards, a little bit more CC jungler, you might play the Misfortune still. But as far as, getting the Kha'Zix into the backline, Thresh is going to be able to fulfill that role very nicely.
Especially when you have Schönfire picking up Kha'Zix in this match. I mean, he played Graves in one of his games last week. It looked very dominant on the champion when he had those one or two mechanical outplays. Now it's time to see if he can do the exact same thing on the Bug. As we get onto Summoner's Rift for the first match between Direwolves and Legacy, let's check in with Hingers, who's with one of their coaches.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Direwolves coach Sharp, and I want to start by asking you about the LeBlanc ban. Was that something you planned to do so you could pick up the Rise, or?
LeBlanc's just a pretty standard ban for us, since it's pretty obvious. I think every OPL team knows that we don't.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to cut that one out because Legacy are going to find Direwolves nice and early in the jungle. King taking quite a bit of damage there, but they should just back out, I believe.
Yeah, and that's again with the Shen, the team with the Shen looking aggressive. You put him up the front, and he's going to be able to do great things with that taunt. No one really skilling anything, so they actually knew that was going to be, just everyone breaking off. But, unfortunately, didn't get to hear what the rest of Sharp had to say, but sick of missing kills in the early game.
We've missed quite a few with our coach interviews. Carvin decided not to follow up on his resonating strike there, so we won't get any action in the early game.
And let's actually, take stock. I mean, we have a Corrupting Potions on Chippies in the top lane. Very long time since I've seen Maokai with Corrupting Potion. It hurts his mana sustain at the start, which means you're not going to see any sapling spams or something like that coming out of him, because he's just not going to be able to regen. You see, he actually starts to smash, so very laning phase oriented Maokai. And we're seeing a little bit of a difference between the AD carries. Lost still likes to go with the Doran's Blade. On the other side of the Rift, King definitely picking up the longsword. Extra potions, extra sustain. Wonder if that is a support choice or whether that is going to stay similar. Of course, Claire and Fantix are both non-biscuit mid laners, which I like to track.
Refillable potion being picked up by Fantix as well to go with his Sapphire Crystal. So a little bit of extra damage early on, as well as that extra bit of mana, and easier for him to stack up to a tier early into the match.
Yeah, it's easy to get the tier, but if you ever get traded on heavily, it's also very easy to fall down in the lane. That's more the refillable potion than it is the mana crystal. I don't mind the mana crystal. I just like 3 pots on my mid laners. I just think that, one jungle game could make this all go awry unless Fantix gets back nice and early.
We have Cleanse being picked up by Claire as well. Fantix going for the exhaust on his Rise in this match, so no Ghost from the two mid laners.
Yeah, trust me, when you play against the Rise, you want to go with the Cleanse if he has an aggressive jungler, just based off the fact that, 2-second snare at that stage of the game will mean death without Cleanse. So latter stages, I mean, Cassiopeia really doesn't need anything else. She has enough damage that you don't need the Ignite, is safe enough that you don't really need the exhaust, but Cleanse certainly does help.
Well, we have Fantix picking up 16 CS and immediately heading back to base, just picking up the tier nice and early, wants to stack that one up as soon as he can against Cassiopeia.
And that makes sense, but it depends how much he gets frozen off, because you saw that what happened is Claire actually looked to catch the wave, and it's firmly on his side of the junglers. Now Shernfire is in big trouble.
Carbon spots him out with a ward, but can't get close enough in time. The smite will put Shernfire up back to nice and solid hit points. Look like they want to try and collapse on towards this Lee Sin. Fantix going to try and find him here. Will lock him down with the root. Gets a good shield as well. There goes Shernfire, but Claire is able to assist his jungler, and he leaps back to safety.
But one more time, I mean, we've complemented Shern's pathing, had the smite available, and that's why he risked the camp. I mean, I'm sure if he had saw that, he saw the ward go down, so he knew it was there. Knew Carbon could be in the area, but was confident enough with the smite would be on full health and be able to take that one away. So, even though it was a little bit of a veteran's move from Carbon, in the end it's a waste of time and costs him a lot of HP, which means that he falls behind a little bit in tempo.
See Fantix still in the mid lane, just trying to clear things out against Claire. Stacking the E's as much as possible before trying to obliterate them with the Overload.
This is a really nice ward. I expect Shern to clear it out with that plan. Because we know, and Carbon knows, that Shernfire cleared out the top side of the jungle, the only thing he can really do is play bottom, which means that they know he's either at Raptors or he's at something, Hook goes a little bit wide, at something like the Krugs right now. So they put that there, as well as the Tri-Brush ward, to know whether he's actually coming in for a gank. Because you can't play top side, you can only play bottom side. And that's going to spot him out. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, good job from Chippies. He's also spotted Carbon out. Carbon has a half of the jungle to go back towards. Shernfire only has a singular camp, but both junglers, I feel, being tracked very well at this stage of the game.
Tally doing a pretty good job up in this top lane, forcing Chippy to use all of his corrupting potion charges, still holding onto his Doran shield and mana pot, and health potion quite nicely here. Chippy should be picking up his Doran's rings when he heads back to base for that extra mana sustain. Mid lane, Claire opting not to go back to base
Mind game.
yet.
I mean, Claire actually, Fantix recalled in range of the creeps as he had a freeze, and Claire was like, nah, mate, not going to let that one go through. I'm just going to wait it out. I'll pop up 2 creeps, but I'm going to push that into your turret. So wave goes back to neutral. One more time. Just a little bit of a mind game between these two. And actually, it looks like Shern wants to stop his back now, which goes through successfully.
He did. Jumps on top of the Cassiopeia, forces him to stop recalling. Fantix now going to be able to do what he wants with this wave.
Yeah, now you expect that probably Carbon has to swing past mid lane and pick up the wave as it's going to hit the turret. Rise, of course, pushes very quickly at earlier stages of the game. Actually doesn't elect to go for that. So just some wasted gold and CS for everyone in that mid lane, and the game's pretty much perfectly even everywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of what we expected going to this match as well. I mean, these are two very disciplined teams. Direwolves have been known to be a little bit more aggressive and try to use their mechanical prowess to bully out their opponents, but it still is very early into the game. Nothing too scrappy happening just yet.
And I feel like even though we've given Direwolves that brand, in times where they have to play safe, they've been able to do so. I mean, think back to week 2, they were getting crush camped over and over again. They still were never in really any danger of losing those games unless it got incredibly late because of the way that they were able to build leads and the fact that they still had Chippies in the side lane. Absolutely putting in work. The tank couldn't go near him underneath the turret on the Fiora. So I think that, Direwolves still head into games with strategy. Just because we say that, they're a scrappy team at times and they make some questionable calls, it doesn't mean that they're playing completely blind. And certainly something that Legacy will respect in this best of 3.
As we see both the teams just farming out their lanes for now, we can check in with the shops that have gone through. Lost has kind of acknowledged that this is a slow-paced game. He's gone for a tier nice and early on his Varus.
Carbon's level 4 versus level 6. Sorry to interrupt you. That is a huge discrepancy in the jungle. I mean, now you really have to credit Shernfire's pathing and the ability to take away those couple of extra camps because Carbon is in a massive deficit right now.
Certainly is. Only just hitting level 5. I mean, Level 6 is great for the Kha'Zix, can evolve one of his abilities. But for Lee Sin, it's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's
that kick
integral.
is important.
Understatement. Definitely agree that Lee Sin's kit
Couldn't
pretty much
find a word
revolves
for it.
around his ultimate. You see that now that Maokai has gone back and actually got some tabbies, well in confidence stepping into the wave and not taking much harass from either the creeps or Tally. And this just gives you free shop after free shop, the ability to be able to set up creeps, push them down, and then with the boot too, be able to run back to base. We talked about it a lot. We used Hecarim, I think, as the example, but still definitely valid over on something like the Maokai. Just pushes up for free, knows that there's no wave clear that's going to come out of the Shen, and then can get back to the base and catch the next wave. No danger of being ganked. Just going to accrue up all that CS and become a big, beefy tank.
And we shouldn't see him go back to shop anytime soon because he's gone back to base, picked up his bling bling with the rings, and be able to farm up nice and easy against Tally in the top lane.
And you saw Tally actually thought he could push out before Chippy's got back, underestimated the speed, and Chippy's actually has an option to freeze the wave. You see he's actually doing that, a couple of red dots left alive, steps away from it. That actually might be a little sapling, so maybe not the case. But certainly gives a lot more control in this lane right now over to the Maokai than it does the Shen. We talk about this, that's why we like the Tiamat rush on Shen, because he's able to push out the wave and maybe look for some more offensive ganks. But certainly is not going to be the case, as now Shen going back mid lane, potentially looking. He's actually gone. I can never tell with this one skin in particular whether that's Q or W.
That's cute.
Because his blades always shimmer anyway, and he has spines over his shoulders regardless.
He's got his Q leveled up. Claire going toe-to-toe against Fantix. Exhaust has been used. Here comes Carbon as well. Kicks him into the toe. But Fantix has already picked up first blood.
I mean, that's a nice gank out of Carbon. Had Shenfire tailing him in. However, the big news story is even though Carbon kicked him into the turret, the poison tick was the last thing that went through, and Claire is able to trade back 1-for-1. Because otherwise, this lane would have snowballed very favorably for Ryze, and Carbon would have had to repeat gank without flash, which can be very, very dangerous. So a little bit of RNG on the side of Legacy there, being able to get Claire the kill.
Yep.
But still, you have to say Fantix going toe-to-toe and coming up the goods.
On top of that, both summoner spells burnt by Fantix. Carbon only blew his flash. Claire still has his cleanse and flash. Not sure if that's a good or bad thing.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he should have cleansed the exhaust off. Made him take a lot of extra damage, of course, with the reduction coming out. But, that is what it is. Fell down, but got the return kill. And it's only a couple of CS that he's missing out on. So everything still seems to be okay on Summoner's Rift.
Yep.
And one more time, we're just caught in a massive arm wrestle.
I mean, again, showing how even and close these two teams are. Both junglers decide to gank mid lane at the exact same time, where the first kill takes place.
And Chippy's actually pushing down now. Maybe that was the other thing. They were expecting the shield to come out of Tally. I mean, got to talk about the Stand United. Absent in that gank. Maybe an interesting thing. Would the shield have saved his life? Probably. Well, Fantix actually gets traded on quite heavily there. Movement speed helps a lot in this matchup now that the Q is a skill shot. And yeah, really, mid lane seems to be the focus. And we already spoke about that. That drags mid laners and junglers in. And the two new young players are the two biggest question marks. Everyone's excited about Claire. Destiny looking for a game. Everyone's excited about Shenfire. Both of them underperformed on stage so far.
Claire had a stint playing in the, I believe, the CS League of the LJL.
Yeah, LJLCS. I just love when they keep getting longer and longer. Like, if we called it like the OPL, OOL, like, just so far.
That's why we have the OCS, not the OPLCS.
Yeah, exactly right. See? Now you're on the same wavelength. Come on, Fish. Like, we've been doing this for a while.
I still get confused sometimes, so I'm still a little bit new here.
No, you can't play the new guys anymore. I do want to point out the fact that Direwolves have two pushing lanes at the moment. You would say that bottom's pretty neutral as far as pushing's gone. Cupcake and Lost have actually done a pretty good job of keeping it off their turret. But in the mid lane, it looks like Claire's getting shoved in more often than not. So Fantix, even though they're equal in CS, is winning out on that lane, you say, because he can leave and get to ganks first. And Chippies is definitely pushing into Tally at the moment. In fact, Tally might actually have to burn a teleport to get back into top lane.
Yep, that's exactly that. Mistakes were made.
I'm telling you, the nerves are really getting to Claire at the moment. I mean, you don't see that out of someone as good as that young man without it being a nervous issue.
Don't really need to petrify the blue buff. He's already a stone golem. But Claire's going to use that time to go back to base for now. Both mid laners have their Negatron cloaks, so not going to take as much magic damage anymore.
There was a ward just underneath Blue as well. I wonder if it was spotted out. Carbon going for a sneaky invade. Shern's actually quite low.
Helps his ultimate actually, looking to see if he can get into this rush undetected. Will be able to take his red buff back for himself. Carbon did fall behind early, but it's trying to catch up, still a level behind the cast.
Yeah, I mean, that's what that was right there. Carbon's gone for 2 aggressive invades, neither have worked, so that's going to cost you a level. This time around, it made sense for the invade because he was there quicker. However, still didn't have the smite available, so you have to say that Carbon invading without smite a couple of times in a row has bit him quite hard. Didn't even look for the fight fish, which I thought he would, because if Lee Sin beats you to a brush, he generally beats you in the fight as well, because he can flash kick onto you or water hop kick, whatever it may be at this stage of the game, be able to follow up with the resonating strike. And guarantees a Thunderlord proc, which pretty much kills you at that stage.
Did like it out of Shernfire though, popped the ultimate blind into
early.
that rush,
Yeah.
which is very smart of him, still secures the red buff. That does give Legacy some time to make use of Shernfire going back to base, and they pick up a Mountain Dragon for himself. Claire's ultimate is back up, so can play a little bit more aggressive in this mid lane. But Shernfire is
Everyone roaming down.
Yep, looking to try and wrap around on towards this Cassiopeia, but smartly playing close towards the turret, just waiting for Fantix to push him in.
I mean, jockeying for position on the side of the map that hadn't disappeared. And you see now Shernfire heavy invading. Blue buff is red buff is available also on that side of the map. Looks like Carbon's just forfeited. Not really interested. And also, Shernfire doesn't really go for it either.
Both junglers again hovering around this mid lane.
Shernfire definitely hasn't had the same warding impact as Carbon's actually on a ward.
Shernfire flushes over the wall. He's trying to go toe-to-toe, but Carbon kicks him back. It'll still be Shernfire picking up the kill. Here comes the Stand United. Claire's trying to duke it out. Curtain Call coming out from King as well. Fantix is forced to flash away. Now Cupcake is in amongst it. Big ultimate coming out from the Jhin. Will allow Fantix to take him down. Now it's Cupcake who's on the run. Direwolves with a fantastic play.
Chippy's actually interrupted the Stand United. This is a couple of times today we've seen how important that can be. Means they win the skirmish there for the Direwolves and open up access to this mid lane turret. Lost actually shoots at Destiny, and this one may fall.
Torrent's going to take a lot of damage. Big ultimate from Lost. Forced to get the heal, and Lost snipes him. Take an arrow to the D, Destiny.
Lost as a gun. I just feel like time and time again, when his team is falling down, this is the guy that is stepping up. And he is still so young, Fish. I mean, able to get a return kill where it did not look like there was one. Carbon, slow to react to this. I mean, he'd taken an auto attack as well as a Q before he really got on. Stand United onto Carbon. The shield definitely would have saved his life this time around, and therefore given him a number advantage. So a couple of times that Tally's had, I guess, the poor end of a trade. And Claire fell down as well. As I said, this looked all kinds of horrible for the Legacy lineup, but then Lost comes in, turns it back into an even trade. Direwolf still eking advantages and looking good in this early game, but Legacy fighting back.
Oh, so aggressive coming out from Shernfire. You know, people would expect the leap, but the flash straight into the bush, looking to try and take it down nice and early. Carbon now trying to see if he can get some revenge here. Shernfire will get jumped on, and he steals away a small chicken instead.
And Carbon, time and time again, is kind of looking for Shern, but coming up wanting. Shern's doing all the smart things as a jungler. He's pulling creeps into camps. I mean, he's flashing, as you said, when he could have used the leap to get over the wall. He's making sure that all his decisions are very, very decisive and kind of not, you know, taking anything for granted at this stage of the game.
Again, we move back into the mid lane where Fantix and Claire are just trying to trade back and forth. Just using their movement speed to dodge out each other's skill shots. Carbon and Shernfire both waiting in the wings of their mid laners. This time, though, Direwolves will be able to chunk out that mid lane turret. A good push from their team will be able to take it down. Wards across the map from both these teams on the entrances to all sides of the jungle, making sure they can spot out where the Lee Sin and Kha'Zix are at all times.
But I feel like right now, as actually might hold that thought because we have a big squad going to the bottom lane. They do back away. Chippy's had pushed up, so had the ability to teleport in, but there's no deep wards. I feel like we have to talk about how these team fights go, because right now, the surprise factor that comes out of Legacy, you know, a flash kick, a Cassiopeia ultimate, maybe a flash forward from Lost into the Varus ultimate. They have the ability to pick one, but I feel if this team fight continues, you know, if Chippies gets into the back line and is able to tank up, he's much more disruptive than what the Shen is going to be after a single taunt. Thresh is much more disruptive than the Karma as well. So you just feel that unless Legacy start getting tempo and pace back on their side and the ability to make these surprise plays, that the game's going to get harder for them as it goes, Fish, because their win condition looks a little bit more narrow.
This could be big from the Direwolves. Legacy were not able to take blue buff for themselves, whereas Direwolves stole it away from Cassiopeia. So I've always seen both mid laners have blue buff at the same time. Direwolves protect their own, and they're looking for a push in the mid lane.
Yeah, I still don't know if it's going to be huge. They're going to get access to the mid lane turret just from pure, I guess, numbers advantage. But Cassiopeia doesn't really ever go because she gets mana back from her E whenever you use it to kill someone. And has pretty much got like a fully stacking tier at this stage of the game. Is important to note though, that was first brick, so you can see 2,000 gold the lead for Direwolves, not only because they got the kills a little bit first, and they're building up some CS advantages, but because that big structure going over to them.
I mean, top lane turret is very low as well. Chippies has done a good job at chipping away at that one. Whereas on the side of the Direwolves, only their bottom lane turret has taken any damage so far.
And I wonder if this is where, you know, we get to see what the macro play that the Direwolves have been quite vocal about. They say we know we're good players, but we also can play macro. If we get a swap towards that top side of the map as King nearly dies.
That's going to allow Legacy to continue pushing.
Yeah, they're going to take the bottom lane turret. I mean, you can't really burn a teleport for it, so that one's just going to fall down. And one more time, we're going to go back to it. Lost and Cupcake have been, people knew they were good.
Yep.
I mean, you know, we were touting them as one of the better laners, but I did not think that they were going to be the saving grace for Legacy time and time again.
They've been playing out of their minds every single week. Turret falling in the bottom lane coincides with the dragon spawning here for Legacy. They took down one mountain dragon already. They're going to take a second one.
However, it looks like it could come to a team fight. Destiny's flying in there, has Moby boots, Shern's with him.
Dragon's down to about 3,000 health. It's time to go if they want to try and take this one. Dragon will fall. Shenfire does not decide to jump in, and Cover will tank up all the shots from the Curtain Call as well, and just gets a bit of food as well on top of that.
Yeah, you could see that Chippy's ducked into Fog of War in case he had to go in for that teleport play. Means that he doesn't take top turret in response, which is still very low. Carbon looked like he wanted to fight. I think it's a smart move that he didn't, because Direwolves had beaten them to that punch as far as if it came down to a little bit of a brawl. Fantix is starting to take over mid lane, actually. Claire's falling behind. And as you can see, big advantage right now for Shenfire in the jungle. He's up 30 CS and is starting to get to that point of the game where Kha'Zix can be a scary, scary threat.
It certainly can be. I mean, waiting for his second item after the Warrior's Enchantment on his jungle item. Direwolves trying to rotate up towards the top lane here. Tally immediately backs away from his turret.
Oh, great macro play. I mean, this is what we're talking about. Can they actually get into the top side jungle, control that area, and kill the turret? Looks like yes, they can. Bottom lane, meanwhile, has been left to push back towards Legacy.
Shenfire evolving into this spike second here, gets the slow down towards Cupcake, and Lost forces them out of the lane. Now Direwolves making a sprint towards the mid lane inner.
Yeah, exactly right. And as we said, I mean, that bottom lane is huge. They want to be able to catch it. Carbon's actually looking for a flank. This is very premature.
There goes the ultimate fancy, but Carbon's actually been caught out. He wanted the flank, doesn't get it. King takes down his previous captain, Carbon.
Yeah, that was a bad play out of Carbon. He was getting a little bit antsy. You can tell he wants to fight because they're falling behind. But at the same time, that was well read out of the Direwolves. Great Rise ultimate to get everyone over there, and now they want more in the mid lane.
Lost is going to whiff his ultimate there. Curtain Call dealing a lot of damage to Cupcake and Lost. Claire desperately trying to stop them from advancing towards this turret. Tally even being forced to get down into this lane. This entire time, Chippies is on the bottom lane outer turret. That should fall for the Direwolves as well.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, they had a huge creep wave there already. Legacy couldn't send anyone. Top wave has now been pushing back. Carbon got caught out by a hook. The Rise ultimate comes in. Credit to Destiny. Really good use of that. And yeah, as we said, that's going to be another turret falling down. 4,000 gold, 22 minutes. This is the play we want to see out of Direwolves. Nothing flashy. I mean, a couple of aggressive ganks, some good dissuasion in the jungle going through from Shenfire, and all of a sudden they've accrued a big gold lead. And I think, honestly, they have a better scaling comp as well.
We'll have to see if they're able to use it to good effect here. And so far, Claire, the mechanical prowess has allowed her to go toe-to-toe against Legacy, and their map rotation has been fantastic. Legacy really on the back foot now. They do have 2 Mountain Dragons, though, so if they do win a fight, they could potentially take a lot of objectives off the back of it. It's currently what really separates the 2 teams. 3 turrets to 1, including the first turret going over in favor of the Direwolves. 3,500 gold up now.
But this is why you're happy to trade non-fire dragons in the current meta for gold values, because unless the gold equalizes quite rapidly, I mean, they're not going to have the vision to be able to sneak Baron without Cassiopeia because they're on the red side. You can't just walk into that pit, as Shermfire may be caught.
Will take quite a bit of damage. Carbon safeguards back to safety, as Destiny going to take quite a bit of damage as well. Critical comes out. Fantix has tried to realm warp his way into this fight. Legacy disengaged nicely.
Yeah, that shut down. Shern has to be careful. One more of those arrows, and he will not be shooting out any more Void Spikes. But one more time, they go into the jungle, they control that. Shern's going to be able to take away another blue buff for himself, continue to dictate the pace of the game. He's been up on Carbon pretty much since minute 1. And they're looking to just continue to starve out this Legacy lineup.
Claire's going to continue pushing up in the top lane here. Fantix actually meeting him.
Carbon's there as well. Fantix needs to be careful.
They're going to go for the fight. There's the ultimate coming out from Tali, looking to try and keep Claire nice and healthy. Good kick coming out from Carbon, as well as the taunt. Legacy get a pick onto Fantix.
Yeah, Fantix just for no reason walks into fight. Destiny now looking for a flash play.
Only flies Cupcake. A good flash coming out from Cupcake, but Chippies follows through with the root. Direwolves answer in the mid lane to get a pick for themselves.
Great response out of the Direwolves. Do not hesitate. Chippy's flashes in. Destiny burns a flash as well. They pick up the return kill, and they get themselves back priority in the mid lane. That means that the push stops in the top side of the map, and it actually looks like with double Mountain Drakes, the play is on.
They want this. They're in the pit. Carbon and Claire looking to try and take this one down. Claire does have a small mana pool, though.
This is the window of timing is really clever for this, because the reason they think that they backed off on the top side of the map, well, Carbon missed that. They're in trouble. They might both die, and they might give over a free Baron.
Oh no, Carbon's incredibly low. There's the captive audience, and Shernfire's into the back of the pit as well. Baron's low. Shernfire and King are going to be able to take this one. Direwolves just turned that one around.
Yeah, and that is so crucial. Double Mountain Drake, but you called out the mana pool issue. They actually read it in the end. They both checked as a unit. I thought that they wouldn't, just because the kill is generally what sends you back to base and not pushing top lane, because you know you're like, we're going to leave mid lane tier 2 open. But now, all of a sudden, Direwolves up 6,000 gold, up a Baron buff, can start pushing into all of this wave clear.
My goodness, Direwolves have been playing so much better in this match. Very calm and collected. Now I want to see if they can close things out.
I think controlled is a word that you need to use, because when you have a look at it, they were very, very good mechanically against Tainted Minds, but then they started playing fast and loose with their advantages. This time around, they still got the early advantage. However, they've just stuck to the game plan. Make sure you're pushing up the waves. Slow down. Don't teamfight recklessly. And it's got them a huge advantage.
This time around, it's Direwolves who will be looking to take down Mountain Dragon for themselves. That will fall nice and easy. Shernfire picks that up.
You have to say that Carbon's Lee Sin, we wanted him to go towards something like an Elise. Lee Sin's definitely been lacking. He's still down 2 levels. If you can't be aggressive on Lee Sin, there's pretty much no reason to pick him. And it's come back to bite them a little bit.
Direwolves use their Baron buff to take down the bottom lane inner turret as well. Now 7,000 gold up over Legacy. Destiny's going to take quite a bit of damage in poke as well. Direwolves looking for the mid lane inner on top of that. That's going to fall. Chippies does not care right now. Slowly chipping away at that turret. Carbon taking so much damage. Kurnikor's going to come out lost. Looking to try and poke people out. Claire's going to take so much damage. Carbon tries to take another shot for the team. Claire almost gets taken down by that last one, but another inner turret's going to fall.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I mean, they even had to call Tally back. Didn't use the ultimate again, but it just means that top lane pressure will cede. And I feel like ever since the 13, 14-minute mark of this game, where Shernfire had a lead, they've just set up their vision. They've rotated very nicely between waves. I mean, we've talked about it already. Fantix finally got ahead. I mean, you feel like King struggling a little bit in the laning phase. He's now 3-0-1, picked up 4 major items. They are looking very good today, Direwolves.
They certainly are. I mean, if anyone had any questions about Shernfire's performance last week, his debut match of the OPL, they've been shut down in this game. He's been playing really well in this Kha'Zix. Score might not say that, but his map rotations have been phenomenal. Out jungling Carbon especially, making sure that he's always 2 levels behind. And now Direwolves look to try and siege the final inner turret. Up at the top lane, Baron buff still active. Slowly taking objective after objective away from Legacy. They're able to defend it for this push.
And I mean, calling over Tally kind of tells the story, right? They're being poked out without a, I guess, big front line there. They have to get Tally out of the side lane, which is where Shen wants to sit for majority of the game, only joining when he has to. And it means that the turrets are just being pushed in even easier right now. And because they don't win the team fight, there's nothing that Legacy can do.
Ooh, Lost gets an ultimate down to Shenfire. He's being taunted back as well, taking a lot of damage. Carbon trying to jump in, but misses his Q. Destiny's now into the back lines. He'll be the first one to fall. Tally is going to be next with Carbon on top of that. Legacy now going to start running because Fantix has splashed into the team. Exhaust down on top of Claire. The Rise is stuck though. They tried to band up to take him down, but Shenfire is coming in as well. King flushes in for his triple kill to take down Legacy.
And the positioning of Direwolves is on point. They send in the right members at the right time. I mean, Destiny goes first, gets the party started with all the CC, and King is never near the fight. He's just attacking from range with the ultimate, with the captive audience. And it looks like Direwolves are going to break the base. We'll see if they stick around for more, because there's still 10 seconds left on Carbon.
They just take the inhibitor turret and inhibitor on top of the inner turret. On top of that, 7 turrets to 1. They're 11,000 gold up. 29 minutes into this game.
And let's take another look at it. I mean, Destiny time and time again is just flirting around the edge. They engage onto Shenfire, but can't take him down. Then Cupcake gets hooked. As I said, Destiny stays underneath that turret, and they're just able to like dictate the pace of this fight, I think is the only fair way to say it. I mean, Chippies is taking up the turret. No one else is taking damage. Fantix will eventually fall, but at what cost? Because King was massive.
King flashing in there. He's now 6-0-2 on Jin. Against his former team. Should be happy with his performance in this game. Shenfire looking to try and steal blue buff away. Legacy secure it this time around. Baron buff has expired for the Direwolves. So Legacy, if they want to try and find a time to attack, it's going to be now.
I mean, and the recipe is still there. They still have Tally who can just sit up in top lane, clog up the wave because he's a Shen. They're not really going to be able to push into it, and he still does have Stand United. However, it just comes back down to that team fight. If you don't really push in the 1v1 hard in the split push against Maokai and he's able to beat you to the team fight, he's just so much more potent than any other like solo tank apart from maybe Nautilus at this stage of the game, which is why he's always the premier in team fights. And you can see that that's where Legacy is struggling right now.
I feel like Chippies is a big unsung hero this game as well, not just because he's on Maokai, but go toe-to-toe against Tally, cancelled almost all his early Stand Uniteds. Has lost, forced to use the Yomis goes for trying to avoid these bullets. Oh, he curves it! Gets the wanted style shot on towards Lost, forces him out of the fight. Here comes the Stand United. Claire's trying to lock everyone down. He's forced to flash away. The turret's gonna fall. The die will stream into Legacy's base. Carbon's locked up behind the entire team. Tally's the next target. He's forced to Shadow Dash away as Lost is getting locked down as well. Chippies doesn't care about anyone. That's a big beefy tree.
But big miscommunication out of Legacy. Just as they're actually chunking out Lost, Carbon flies in for a flash kick. I mean, the fight was a 4v5. Claire lands the perfect ultimate, but there is no damage follow-up. And Direwolves break the base again. 12,000 gold down, a little bit of desperation, but I feel like you need Lost there if you're going to win the team fight.
That bullet coming out from King, he gets it around Cupcake. Crucial timing as well, right as Carla wanted to go in on top of that one. He's having a phenomenal game on this Jin.
And I mean, it was a good kick in the end. It was Shenfire through Chippies, which meant no engage was going to follow up on the back end of it. Actually got both members of the front line pretty much. But at the same time, if your AD carry isn't there to capitalize on a kick, it's just not going to work. So, you know, mechanics looked good. Give that to him. But pretty useless every other way for a burnt flash.
Now Direwolves only have to take down the mid lane inhibitor turret. Carbon forced to kick Fanny's way. Big hook coming out from Destiny, and he rightfully takes the kill for himself.
And I think we said Carbon died 16 times last week after only dying once. This game he's already died 6. KDA is in shambles. Baron buff number 2 picked up for the Direwolves. And they need a miracle on the Legacy lineup because the Direwolves are rolling.
They've got their second Baron buff of the game. The side lane inhibitors are taken down, and Direwolves look to just try and run it straight down mid lane to take the rest of the base away from Legacy. King has started with the curtain call. No one's in range for that one, but does allow Direwolves to get a lot of damage onto this
It's just zoning
inhibitor
the
turret.
whole team. I mean, Carbon's not alive, so they're probably not looking to fight regardless, but he just pushes them off the turret, and you see Carbon's player cam. He's just like, all right, there's absolutely nothing we can do anymore.
And that's all 3 inhibitors taken down. Direwolves will have super minions streaming through all 3 lanes, and that's going to be 6 super minions away. Direwolves just have to wait. They've got a lot of time in this Baron buff. There's no rush for them. Legacy have to put up their last stand. Chippies, he's trying to go in. Carbon avoids the damage after getting hooked out there. Good dark passage to get the tree back to safety.
Yeah, exactly right, but still they can just continue to wait because if Legacy choose to fight, the super creeps will take out the base, and maybe even if they don't.
Even throwing Destiny up towards the top side of the map, just buffing up every single minion inside of Legacy's base. That's all the Nexus turret's gone. I don't even think Direwolves have hit these ones.
I mean, Legacy have to go. There's no other way to put it. If you do not fight now, you lose the game. They finally force them out of the base. But did a Nexus turret survive, Fish? Go up, Observer. Go up.
I believe that's 1 turret left. I can't quite tell. We won't be able to see just yet.
We're just going to check out the other scenery of the base for a second.
No, Nexus turret still alive. 150 hit points here. There it is. Hello. And the inhibitor will respawn at the same time. So Legacy have some breathing room, but it's a very tight, confined space at the moment they're trying to work with. I hope they're not claustrophobic.
I mean, on the good news for Legacy, they get to farm. The bad news for Legacy is they don't really have much of a base left. And can they farm for long enough? Because realistically, Fantix just walks into the base, like the big bear-head wolf, blows down the last turret, and that will be all she wrote.
Well, they should have built their house out of bricks here, Legacy, not learning from that story. But they're going to try and do their best to put up a last stand. There have been stranger things that have happened in League of Legends. Let's see if this is going to be one of those days. But the Direwolves, very clean with their execution. Seems like they want to. Seems like they know exactly how they want to close out this game.
Yeah, certainly does. Oh, Claire misses the ulti.
Destiny at half health. Lands a hook. That's Claire going to force to use a cleanse, but still gets engaged on. They've taken down the Snake Lady. Direwolves are streaming on top of the backline of Legacy. Surnefire gets one as he finds Lost. Carbon's the next to fall. Tally and Cupcake get the heck out of there. And Direwolves are definitely not barking up the wrong tree here because game 1 goes to them.
And it was a clean game, Fish. It took 35 minutes. However, they were able to control the pace, control the tempo, and you can see not really big smiles on the faces. They know that this is a best of 3. They won the first one clearly. Where do we go from here?
But still, if you're the coach of the Direwolves, you have to be happy with that performance. They played it out close to perfection there. And it was a great showing for them. Match of the week. Legacy really have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what went wrong for them in that match.
Yeah, and you know, you have to look at maybe a little bit of the draft. The Lee Sin wasn't as impactful as the Kha'Zix. With such a mid lane focused game, I mean, that's where Elise thrives. It was still available, didn't opt to go for it. Rek'Sai also good with the Cassiopeia, sets up the Burrow very, very nicely that you can't escape. I just feel like there was so much happening in that mid stage of the game where they were jockeying for position around mid lane, and the Lee Sin didn't get rolling. I mean, if you can't get your Lee Sin rolling at that stage, the jungle pick needs to be questioned.
I mean, Surnfire's second match in the OPL was able to shut down Carbon just through farming alone. Level 6 to level 4 at some stage in the game, and Direwolves are able to take game 1 off the back of that. To break down the game further, let's go back to the analyst desk.
Thank you, Fish. Thank you, Spawn. Well, my name is Michael Hinginsing, and I'm joined here at the desk by Mendrix and Alex to break down that game 1, where the Direwolves are up now 1-0 over Team Legacy. And Mendrix, let me start with you. Surnefire looks a lot more calm, a lot more composed, had a much better series. Oh, sorry, much better game as opposed to last week.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And one of the things that I want to touch on there was because he did get a priority pick with the Kha'Zix. That's really a strong pick at the moment. He was excellent with his farming, and he was also on point with communication. I mean, the first initial sort of team fight that started them off, instantly flashing into that brush, jumping straight onto Lee Sin. Carbon was immediately caught by surprise, and they were able to sort of get a nice benefit from that afterwards.
Yeah, I have to say I was impressed with Shenfire's composure early on. He knew that Carbon wasn't really taking it to him that much. There was that little one scrap in River, but no team really committed to it. And so he knew, I'm Kha'Zix, he's Lee Sin. If I keep farming, I come out on top.
Absolutely, and he's got to be happy with how he played in that game. Well, let's take a look at the draft as we bring up the picks and bans. And we see a Thresh, we see a Rise. I'm pretty excited about this team comp. Alex, what's going on with the Direwolves here?
The Direwolves, this is standard Direwolves play. They want to kill you. They want to kill you a lot. Thresh and Rise, right? Those two together can kill any champion on the Rift.
Yeah.
They have a lot of single target focus. Certainly not the the formidable team fighting that Legacy had. But what they wanted was to get good single target damage, to space out the map as much as possible, to find one vulnerable player and pick them off.
And meanwhile, across the Rift, Legacy. Let's take a look at their team comp. We're seeing Lee Sin, we're seeing Varus. Mendrix, what's going on with this team comp?
So they actually have fantastic neutral objective control, and we actually saw that illustrated based off how they got those early dragons. Actually, 2 Mountain Drakes early minutes. Lee Sin, great at getting those executions when it comes to finishing off objectives. Percentage damage for Varus, excellent at taking objectives. And Cassiopeia, one of the few mages that can really burn them down. So they're definitely built for it, even with the Cassio being a response into the Rise.
Well, let's take a look at this first replay, which is that Baron attempt off the back of 2 dragons.
Yes.
So they have 2 Mountain Drakes. They go to get Baron. They rush it, and well, I mean, it's a dodgy Baron call.
This is so frustrating. Look, if you watch the clip from the start, you notice that Claire has like no mana left.
Yeah.
There's no way they can even finish the Baron, let alone take a fight. And from there, it's like, what are you guys doing? Come on.
So
I
they're
really
they're
like the premise.
Sorry.
I really like the premise of it. They know they've got the 2 Mountain Drakes. They know it's early in the game and they can go for it. And again, Cassio is great at taking objectives, but you should have at least had 3 people that early in the game, and it just really bites them to, at that point when they decide to go, hey, you know what? We haven't seen the jungle too much. Maybe we should check out that Baron because, they've got 2 Mountain Drakes. Maybe
Yeah,
worth
I mean,
a look.
they're trying to rush that Baron. Varus isn't there, so, it just gets stolen, and after that, their 5k gold deficit just grows from that.
Yeah, I mean, full props to them for seeing the opportunity. It's a good act of
Absolutely.
subterfuge. There wasn't a lot of Direwolves vision around the area. In a different universe, maybe that would have gone better, but you need to bring more than 2 guys.
And as we look as well to other people in the Direwolves who just had massive games, King did very, very well. There's a fight in the top lane where King was just popping off, ends up with a triple kill, Mendrix.
That's right, and one of the big things I actually want to note in this team fight as it happens is, as you can see, Tally goes in, but look at Destiny. He actually manages to jump in, instantly gets a 3-man flay, and immediately they get popped off afterwards, and King's just allowed to clean up because of that. And it's just crazy to see that he was able to do that, because it initially separates Legacy in half. And not only that, they're CC'd in place, and they get absolutely taken to town because of it.
Look how long Fantix was in the front line there. 1v3. Like, he didn't give a damn. He was just, smashing keyboards as the Rise players do.
So if you're Legacy right now, you're obviously feeling disheartened from that first match, but, signs of life and no reason why you couldn't take a second, right, Mendrix?
Absolutely. And again, maybe just better decision-making when it comes towards that macro play. It really did hurt them when they decided to make that Baron call. And I think it was just Carbon saying, I need to be more impactful. We can make this work. We've got the 2 mountains. And in the end, it ended up just setting Direwolves up for an even more commanding defeat.
All right,
Sorry,
well,
victory.
That was game 1. Direwolves up 1-0 in this series. We're going to get back into game 2. But first, let's take a break.
Claire going toe-to-toe against Fantix. Exhaust has been used. Here comes Carbon as well. Kicks him into the toe. But Fantix has already picked up first blood. Showfire flushes over the wall. He's trying to go toe-to-toe, but Carbon kicks him back. It'll still be Showfire picking up the kill. Here comes the Stand United. Claire's trying to duke it out. Curtain coming out from King as well. Fantix is forced to flash away. Now Cupcake is in amongst it. Big ultimate coming out from the Jin. Will allow Fantix to take him down. Now it's Cupcake who's on the run. There goes the ultimate of Fantix. But Carbon's actually been caught out. He wanted to flank, doesn't get it. King takes down his previous captain, Carbon. Oh no, Carbon's incredibly low. There's the captive audience, and Showfire's into the back of the pit as well. Baron's low. Showfire and King are going to be able to take this one. Direwolves just turned that one around.
Yeah.
Full loss gets an ultimate down to Showfire. He's being taunted back as well, taking a lot of damage. Carbon trying to jump in, but misses his cue. Destiny's now into the back lines. He'll be the first one to fall. Tally is going to be next with Carbon on top of that. Legacy is now going to start running because Fantix has splashed into the team. Exhaust down on top of Claire. The Rise is stuck though. They tried to band up to take him down, but Showfire's coming in as well. King flushes pushes in for his triple kill to take down Legacy. Half-Elf lands a hook. That's Claire gonna force using cleanse, but still gets engaged on. They've taken down the Snake Lady. Direwolves are streaming on top of the backline of Legacy. Surnefire gets one as he finds Lost. Carbon's the next to 4. Tally and Cupcake get the heck out of there. And Direwolves are definitely not barking up the wrong tree here because game 1 goes to them.
As Sivir lies betrayed and bleeding, something incredible occurs. For though she does not know it, Sivir is the last in the bloodline of Azir, Shurima's lost emperor. And as her blood soaks into the ancient sands, a deep magic sparks to life. Resurrection. First Azir's mind, then his body, snatched back from oblivion to be reborn. Then he sees Sivir, wonders at her face. He sees himself in this daughter of Shurima. In that moment, he has no thought of empires or rituals. He only knows she needs his help. He must take her to the oasis of the dawn, the mother of life. He smells the waters, smells of life. He prays he's in time. He does not dream that he, Shurima's greatest emperor, can at long last